Hello, world. Welcome to episode 121 of the Jimmy Canz Show. We're going to do another timeline here. This time, it's not going to be a title belt timeline. We are going to do an actual title timeline. We are going to do the history of the WWE Championship. 60 years to discuss here, a lot of champions. So let's get into it. Right. As everyone is well aware, April 25th, 1963, Nature Boy Buddy Rogers wins the inaugural WWF Championship in a tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Well, that's what kayfabe states. We all know that the Northeast Territory of the Capital Wrestling Corporation withdrew from the NWA in 1963 to form the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, and as such needed to crown a champion. Rogers being their last contracted talent to hold the NWA title, a title which they felt he should not be stripped of at the time when the board made the decision to put the title back on Luthez, I believe. So they named Rogers their inaugural champion. And then in kayfabe, they said some big tournament took on it, happened in Rio, which really didn't happen. However, his health was on the decline, and less than a month after being named the inaugural champion on May 17th, 1963, none other than the living legend himself, Bruno Sammartino, won the title at a MSG house show. The living legend Sammartino would go on and hold that title over 8 years. During this record-setting title reign, Bruno would sport 7 different championship designs. There was the Caesar belt, there was the Iron Cross belt. Yeah, a lot of people associate that one with Pedro, but it was actually Bruno that used that one first. There's the one that he's most synonymous with, that you can kind of see on the far right. There's some variations of that also used during that title reign, in terms of different finishes, different paint schemes, et cetera, et cetera. So, but as I stated, 8-year reign, but on January 18th, 1971, the unthinkable happened when the Russian Bear Ivan Koloff at an MSG house show dropped a big knee on Bruno and defeated him to capture the WWF Championship. Much like Buddy Rogers, this reign was very short-lived, as 3 weeks later, on February the 8th, 1971, Pedro Morales, again at MSG house show, defeated Koloff for the belt. Pedro would sport multiple designs as well during his reign. Like I said, he brought back the Iron Cross, restrapping it. Obviously won what is kind of known as the Bruno belt, obviously off of Koloff. Then debuted first version of the title to prominently feature an eagle on it, although the first version of that the eagle looked more like a swan of some type, very long neck, very odd looking, than the more recognizable version of that particular title. Came in near the tail end of his title reign. 1973, though, little Stan the Man Stasiak in the Philadelphia Arena at a house show with the Grand Wizard in his corner, defeated Pedro to capture the title. First title change outside of Madison Square Garden. but Stasiak's reign only lasted 9 days, as on the 10th of December, Bruno's back, baby. MSG House Show, living legend himself, recaptures the title. Nice reign here again, not as long as his first one, this time a 52-month reign. But on April 30th, 1977, the Baltimore Civic Center at House Show, the colorful and boisterous superstar Billy Graham, again managed by the Grand Wizard, put his feet up on the ropes and defeated Bruno to capture the title. The colorful and boisterous Graham would sport the title on a red strap, really making it kind of pop. He's the first heel to hold the title longer than 3 weeks, as he held it for 10 months. But on February 20th, 1978, on episode of Worldwide Wrestling Federation on the MSG Network, the All-American himself, Bob Backlund, with Arnold Skolin in his corner, captured the WWF title. It was the first WWF title change to air on a TV program, even though it was just a regional MSG network broadcast. Still was the first one to air on an actual television show. Backlund multiple different colored straps during his reign on that title, and then he was awarded the Big Green title belt as the company rebranded to just the World Wrestling Federation in 1982. And then shortly after Christmas, actually day after Christmas, December 26, 1983, at an MSG live event, the Iron Sheik, with classy Freddie Blassie in his corner, captured the title from Backlund when his manager Arnold Skolin threw in the towel. Sheik, like many heels before him, held the title just shy of a month, as on January 23rd, 1984, Hulkamania reached the top on an episode of the World Wrestling Federation on the MSG Network, when the Hulkster dropped the big leg on the Sheik, and the World Wrestling Federation shot to the stratosphere. During his 4+ year reign on the top of the company and the global or national expansion, I guess at this point in time, national expansion, Hogan would sport a lot of different title designs. They nickel what is known as the Hogan 84 and 85s. Basic same design here, only difference is had the lettering recessed rather than recessed and etched into the banners rather than popping off the banners, and was picked out in red paint. The other version had a more black paint accents to make things pop, and the letters were raised. There was the odd picture title that only I think was used once by Hogan at some random house show. There's the Hogan 86 as it's referred, which is probably the one that's most synonymous with Hogan during this long title reign. And then it was actually Hogan himself that debuted the first version of the Winged Eagle. It was a dual-plated version, which he debuted on February the 5th, 1988, on that infamous episode of The Main Event, the episode in which Andre the Giant, who had the $1 Million Man out there with him in his corner, defeated Hogan thanks to some underhanded tactics. The twin referees angle that they used there, and Andre became a champion. However, Andre surrendered the title and attempted to just award it to the $1 Million Man on the spot, within seconds of winning it. Then on an event center that following like, I don't know if it was that following weekend or if it was a whole week, later. But Jack Tunney announced that the title was vacant and stated it became vacant effective on that evening of February 5th. Even though we didn't hear about it for a couple of days, the title was effectively vacated on February 5th, the instant Andre surrendered it. It remained vacant until March 27th, 1988, when it would be awarded to the winner of a one-night tournament being held at that year's WrestleMania 4. And the said tournament was won by none other than Macho Man Randy Savage, with the lovely Miss Elizabeth out there with him. Savage used that winged eagle, the dual-plated winged eagle. He did actually use two versions during his reign. He won the version that Hogan debuted on February 5th. However, Savage was a much slighter man than the Hulkster or Andre, and had a version of the title that was had a much shorter strap that fit him better. And that Savage version actually, being dual plated, though, did have the heavyweight banner picked out with black paint to make the word heavyweight pop a little bit more. So not a lot of people realize that there were actually a different version of the title there that Savage used. But on April 2nd of 1989, we all know the Mega Powers exploded at WrestleMania 5, and the Hulkster recaptured the championship. He, went back to using that non-painted heavyweight banner version, dual-plated heavyweight title, until about November of '89. That title was then destroyed by a hammer on Saturday Night's Main Event by Mr. Perfect. The all-gold version then went into effect, lasted until 1998. Hogan's second run only lasted a year, though, as on April 1st, 1990, the Ultimate Challenge, champion versus champion, title for title, the Ultimate Warrior bested Hogan at WrestleMania 6. The neon-clad warrior, brought back the tradition of the multiple colored straps. So during his reign with the title, he obviously used the black. They also used the title on a white strap, on a light blue strap, and on a lavender strap. Speaking of that lavender one, on January 19th, 1991, the Warrior lost that lavender version at the Royal Rumble to Sergeant Slaughter, who had General Adnan out there in his corner, thanks to a little assistance from one Macho King, Randy Savage. Said Slaughter won that lavender version, but reverted back to the traditional black leather version. And just 2 months after winning that title on March 24th, 1991, at WrestleMania 7, Hulk Hogan became the first ever 3-time WWF champion. He'd go on, have a nice little run there, but then on Thanksgiving Eve, November 27th of that year, just 1 year after debuting in the company, The Undertaker, with Paul Bearer in his corner, defeated Hogan at Survivor Series with his tombstone on a steel chair, due to a little Nature Boy assist. This sparked a special event and rematch just 6 days later on the 3rd of December, an event called This Tuesday in Texas. Hogan became a 4-time champion, thanks to some urn ashes into Taker's face. This sparked some controversy, and then we find out, courtesy of the Event Center on a episode of Superstars that weekend, that Jack Tunney vacated the title effective actually on Wednesday. We found about it on the weekend, but effective on that Wednesday, which would have been the 4th of December that year, and that the title would then be awarded to the winner of that year's, or the 92, not that year, I guess, the 1992 Royal Rumble. So then on January 19th of 92, with a tear in his eye, the Nature Boy Ric Flair won the Rumble and the title. So Shortly after debuting, the Nature Boy is now on top of the company. He's got his executive consultant, Mr. Perfect, out there with him throughout this run. But on April 5th of 1992, at WrestleMania 8, the Macho Man Randy Savage became a two-time WWF champion when he defeated Flair. Savage would go on this time, last time he held the title for a year, this time 5 months later, in a match that aired on an episode of Primetime Wrestling. The Nature Boy, well, with Mr. Perfect in his corner, and thanks to some interference by one Razor Ramon, defeated Savage to become a two-time WWF champion. This second run was shorter than the first, though, as the following month, on October 12th, 1992, in a match recorded for the Smack'em Whack'em VHS, courtesy of Coliseum Video, Bret the Hitman Hart defeated Flair to capture the title in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. The Hitman held the title for 6 months. Then on April 4th, WrestleMania 9, little salt in the eyes by Mr. Fuji allowed that year's Rumble winner, the behemoth Yokozuna, to defeat the Hitman. But immediately after the match, Fuji got on the microphone challenging Hogan, who had come out to ringside to help Bret out, calling Hogan, a coward, yellow belly, yada, 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 stating that if Hogan had the guts to get in the ring, that they'd even put the title on the line right there on the spot. Well, we all know what happened. Hogan jumps in the ring, salt backfires, and Hogan drops the leg and becomes a 5-time WWF champion. This run, a very short one for Hogan. 2 months later, June 13th of 1993, the inaugural King of the Ring pay-per-view, an exploding camera to the face and a Yokozuna leg drop later sees Yoko become a 2-time champion and Hogan exit the company. Yoko dominated the scene as champion there for a while till March 20th of the following year, when in the second of 2 title defenses at that year's WrestleMania 10, the Hitman bested Yoko, becoming a 2-time WWF champion. Bret's second run with the belt ended in dubious fashion on November 23rd, when his younger brother Owen convinced his mother to throw in the towel in a submission match at Survivor Series against Bob Backlund, and Backlund became a 2-time champion, actually winning the title 10 years after he last lost it. But this run wasn't as successful as Backlund's first, which was, multiple years. This one was only 3 days, as 3 days later, on the 26th of November, at a WWE live event at MSG, Big Daddy Cool Diesel jackknifed his way to the top in just 8 seconds. His run lasted about a year, as on November 19th, 1995, at Survivor Series, the Hitman became a 3-time champion. And on the 31st of March, 1996, at WrestleMania 12, the boyhood dream came true. In sudden death of a 60-man Iron Man match, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels won the big one, and then went on to be at the top of the card for 8 months, until on November 17th, 1996, Survivor Series Psycho Sid powerbombed HBK to capture the title, and just 2 months later, on January 19th of 1997, in his hometown of San Antonio, Texas, at the Royal Rumble, HBK became a 2-time WWF champion. But just 2 months later, on a special episode of Raw Thursday Live, HBK lost his smile and vacated the title. It was announced that 3 days later, on February 16th at In Your House Final Four, that the title would be awarded to the winner of a 4-corner elimination match to be contested between the final 4 men of that year's Rumble. That was Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Vader, and The Undertaker. At said In Your House event, Bret walked out the winner that night, became a 4-time champ, but just 24 hours later, on the 17th, on Raw, Bret lost the title to Sid, making Sid a 2-time champion. This run was half as long as his last, as on March 23rd of 97 at WrestleMania 13, The Undertaker tombstoned his way back to the top, becoming a 2-time champion. This run, longer than his first, obviously, 5 months or so. On August 3rd, 1997, at SummerSlam, Heart and Soul, the Hitman became a 5-time champion, defeating Taker in a match that featured HBK as a special referee. This run is more so probably remembered for the dubious fashion in which it ended, even more dubious than the last time that Bret lost the title at a Survivor Series, but on November 9th, 1997, at Survivor Series, in what has become known as the Montreal Screwjob, HBK became a 3-time champion. Bret's contract was up. He had signed with the competition. Vince didn't want his champion showing up on another program. Bret didn't want to do the honors for Shawn until Shawn showed that he respected Bret as a competitor. Shawn was not in a good place in his life at this point in history, and it was just a very surreal situation. But 4 months after this, in a bad way, due to a crippling back injury and many others, let's just say poor life choices by HBK, on the 29th of March, 1998, at WrestleMania, the Austin era kicked off. Austin won the title from HBK at that year's Mania. He won the Winged Eagle, but then the following night on Raw was awarded the block logo blue leather version of the Big Eagle. 3 months later, though, on June 28th, at King of the Ring, in a first blood match, the Big Red Machine, Paul Bearer, defeated Austin. Now, I honestly think Austin was busted open the hard way, and that it wasn't planned for Kane to actually win that match. However, when you have a first blood match and somebody's bleeding, you kind of have to call the match, because the reason I think that it wasn't planned is just 24 hours later, on the 29th, on Raw, Austin recaptures the title from Kane, becoming a 2-time champion. So, I know it was a different point in wrestling history, and you're competing with WCW at this point in time, so doing things on Raw wasn't uncommon, but just kind of hot-shotting things like this just kind of seem weird to me. So that's why my belief is I don't think the loss at King of the Ring was planned. But anyway, shortly after recapturing the title, Austin debuted his custom smoking skull belt. 3 months later, though, on the 27th of September, at Breakdown, Austin was double pinned by Undertaker and Kane, and Vince declared that the title be vacated as a result. It remained vacant until November 15th at that year's Survivor Series Deadly Game. One night tourney was taking place to decide the new champion. Said tournament was won by the Great One, The Rock, for his first WWF title. Just under 2 months later, though, on January 4th, 1999, on Raw, Mrs. Foley's baby boy won the big one as Mankind became WWF champion. 20 days later, though, at the Royal Rumble, let's just call it brutal, I Quit match. The Rock recaptured the title, becoming a 2-time champion. But 1 week later, on a special episode of Halftime Heat in an empty arena match during halftime of the Super Bowl, Mankind used a pallet of beer kegs and a forklift to become 2-time WWF champion. On the 15th of February, 1999, back on Raw, 2 weeks later, the Brahma Bull becomes a 3-time champ and heads into WrestleMania 15, confrontation with Stone Cold for the championship. Then here you have it, WrestleMania 15, 28th of March 1999. Stone Cold walks out, 3-time champion. The Smoking Skull and the Big Eagle bounced around, through the rest of the year, depending on who the champion was, when they won it, and yada, 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 yada. But on the 23rd of May, Over the Edge, Undertaker became a 3-time champion. But a month later, on the 28th of June, on Raw, Austin recaptures the title and becomes a 4-time champion. So that, we're now coming up on SummerSlam, that year's SummerSlam, August 22nd. Triple threat match involving Austin, Triple H, and Mankind. Mankind becomes 3-time champion that evening. A special referee in that one, none other than the Minnesota governor, Jesse the Body Ventura. 24 hours after winning that triple threat on Raw, the 23rd of August, the Game, Triple H, captures his first WWF championship. However, a month or so later on SmackDown, on September the 16th, the unthinkable happens, and none other than Vincent Kennedy McMahon himself, with a little Stone Cold assist, defeated Triple H to capture the title. But 4 days later, on the 20th of September on Raw, Vince comes out and vacates the title and stated that the winner of a 6-pack challenge at Unforgiven on the 26th of September that year would be awarded the title. The winner of said match is The Game, who walks out of there a 2-time champion. 6 weeks later, on the 14th of November, at Survivor Series, though, Big Show, substituting for an injured Stone Cold, beat both the Cerebral Assassin and the Brahma Bull in a triple threat to capture his first WWF championship. 6 weeks later, however, on January the 3rd of 2000, on Raw, The Game, with his blushing bride, Stephanie, by his side, became a 3-time champion. And went on nice little run there. But then on April 30th, at Backlash, the Great One became a 4-time champion, defeating The Game. A month later, May 21st, at Judgment Day, Triple H becomes a 4-time champion. 1 month after that, on the 25th of June, at King of the Ring, The Rock became a 5-time champion. Months after that, on October the 22nd of 2000, the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle at No Mercy would capture the WWF title. 4 months later, on February the 25th, 2001, No Way Out, The Rock became the first ever 6-time WWF champion. And that takes us into April 1st of 2001 at WrestleMania 17. The Texas Rattlesnake becomes a 5-time WWF champion, turning heel in the process. 5 months later, on the 23rd of September at Unforgiven, Kurt Angle becomes a two-time WWE champion. But 1 month later, on the October 8th episode of Monday Night Raw, the Bionic Redneck captures his sixth WWF title. Little do we know, this would also be Austin's last. On the 12/9 pay-per-view, Vengeance, the WWF title and the world title were to be unified. And at said event, none other than Y2J, Chris Jericho, becomes the first undisputed WWF champion, beating The Rock earlier that night for the world title, and then Austin later for the WWE title. Then March 17th, 2002, at WrestleMania 18, the Game, Triple H, is back and captures the undisputed title, making him a 5-time champion. He is then awarded a new single title belt shortly after this win, but he didn't get to enjoy that new belt very long, as 1 month into the reign, on the 21st of April 2002 at Backlash, the Hulkster becomes a 6-time champion. Anybody think this would ever happen the way Hogan left the company and where he went? And oh my God, no one saw this one kind of coming, until it really came. During Hogan's 6th and final reign, the company rebranded as the WWE, and on 5/19 at Judgment Day, Undertaker became 4-time WWE champion. 2 months later, though, on the 21st of July, Vengeance, the Great One, The Rock, became a 7-time champion. Later, though, on the 25th of August at SummerSlam, the next big thing just became the thing, as Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman won the WWF title. 3 months into this reign, though, on the 17th of November at Survivor Series, Heyman would betray Brock and help Big Show become a 2-time WWE champion. Just a month later, though, on December the 15th, at Armageddon, Kurt Angle defeated Big Show to become a 3-time champion. 3 months later, on March 30th, 2003, at WrestleMania 19, Brock Lesnar cheated death itself to recapture the WWE title. The reason I say that is anybody who's gone back and ever seen this show knows that Brock botched a shooting star press and landed and spiked himself on his head. Watching that live, that was one of the scariest things I think I ever saw. A man of that size, spiking his head like that. I didn't think he was going to get up, but he did. Tough guy. I mean, good thing he's got a neck thicker than a encyclopedia. But 4 months later, on the 27th of July, at Vengeance, Kurt Angle became a 4-time WWE champion, defeating Brock. It was 2 months later, on the 18th of September, at Unforgiven, that Brock recaptured the title, making the Beast a 3-time champion. 5 months later, though, on the 15th of February 2004, with, let's be honest, 1 foot probably already heading towards the door, and a Goldberg assist to boot, at No Way Out, Eddie dethroned Brock to capture the WWE title. Latino Heat's reign lasted 4 months. Then on the 27th of June, at the Great American Bash, John Bradshaw Layfield defeated Eddie to win the WWE title. JBL would go on to hold the title for 10 months. It was a long reign, for back then. Men of the business. And on the 3rd of April, 2005, muscle, loyalty, and respect came to fruition. At WrestleMania 21, John Cena would capture the WWE title. Upon winning the title, he won the what is traditionally known as the undisputed title. But then, about say maybe a week or so after winning the belt, Cena debuted the spinner title. A couple of different versions of the spinner there. The original spinner, the side plates were not as quote unquote blinged out. As you can see, just black paint on a lot of things. Then, the blinged out side plates, came into fruition. Brand split was a thing then, and Cena went from SmackDown over to Raw. So that SmackDown side plate was replaced then with a Monday Night Raw side plate. So, like I said, there were just, some subtle changes and things here or there. Cena's reign went from, that April all the way until January 8th of 2006, when the ultimate opportunist, the rated R superstar himself, Edge, cashed in his Money in the Bank contract on a beat up and weakened Cena at New Year's Revolution. 3 weeks later, though, on the 29th of January, at the Royal Rumble, John Cena would recapture the title. And 5 months later, though, 11th of June, at ECW One Night Stand, RVD defeated Cena for the WWE title. Rob was also awarded the reactivated ECW title at the exact same moment, making him a dual champion. However, a month later and a drug bust later, on the 3rd of July, on Raw, RVD would drop the title to Edge. This makes Edge 2-time champion, and it was shortly after this that Edge would debut his rated R version of the winner. This run went on until the 17th of September 2006. At Unforgiven, John Cena got title win number 3, but a month later suffered a torn pectoral. And on the 2nd of October, an episode of ECW on Sci-Fi, Vince McMahon announced that the title was now vacant. And on 10/7, a new champion would be crowned. Now, follow me here. 10/7 rolls around, no mercy. Vince just awards the title to Randy Orton at the start of the show, giving Orton his first WWE title. But Triple H comes out and a match takes place. He defeats Orton to win his 6th WWE title. Went on to defend the title successfully a couple other times that same evening before having another match against Randy Orton later that evening, at which time Orton defeats him, making Orton a 2-time champion. So he will become a WWE champion 2 times in the same night. Then 6 months later, on the 27th of 2008, the Game recaptures the title and unseats Orton at Backlash for his 7th WWE title. 7 months later, 23rd of November, Survivor Series, Edge becomes a 3-time champion. 3 weeks later, on the 14th of December at Armageddon, the charismatic Enigma would best both Edge and Triple H in a triple threat to capture the WWE title. Just a month later, on the 25th of January 2009, at the Royal Rumble, Edge becomes a 4-time WWE Champion. 3 weeks later, on the 15th of February at No Way Out, inside the Elimination Chamber, the Game becomes an 8-time WWE Champion. Then, on the 26th of April, at Backlash, the Viper won the championship for the 3rd time. 5 weeks later, at Extreme Rules, his former Evolution brethren, the Animal Batista, defeated Orton. But the next night on Raw, he suffered a tricep tear. And, WWE.com announced the title was vacated on the 9th of June that year. And 6 days later, on the 15th, Apex Predator recaptured the title for the 4th time. This run went 3 months, and on the 13th of September, at Breaking Point, John Cena captured the title for the 4th time. 3 weeks later, on October, at Hell in a Cell, the Legend Killer becomes a 5-time champion. Just 3 weeks later, on the 25th of Bragging Rights, John Cena becomes 5-time WWE champion. Then on 12/13, Sheamus would come out and defeat Cena at TLC for his first WWE championship. 2 months after that, on the 21st of February at Elimination Chamber, John Cena won title number 6, but then turned right around and lost it to Batista, making the Animal a 2-time WWE champion. And about later, March 28th, WrestleMania 26, John Cena becomes 7-time champion. 3 months after that, June 20th, once again, it's Sheamus who ends Cena's reign, marking Sheamus's 2nd run with the title. He wins at Fatal 4-Way. Then on the 19th of September, at Night of Champions, the Viper became a 6-time WWE champion. 2 months later, on the 22nd of November, on an episode of Raw, The Miz would cash in Money in the Bank on a worn-down Orton to capture the WWE title and give us Angry Miz Girl. During the tail end of Miz's, let's just call it unexpected run, he would lock the WWE logo on the title upside down, making it into an M. But on May 1st, 2011, at Extreme Rules, the Doctor of Thugonomics himself, Big Match John, becomes an 8-time WWE champion. Then 2 months later, on the 17th of July, at Money in the Bank, we trigger craziest situation maybe in the title's history. So follow close here. This gets confusing. All right. CM Punk defeats Cena on the night his contract ends at Money in the Bank and leaves with the title. So then on the 25th of July episode of Raw, matches take place and Rey Mysterio wins the title. Punk never lost the title, but now Mysterio's champion. And later that night, Rey loses the title to John. So, and immediately after winning that, Punk shows back up at the end of the night. So now Cena and Punk are both recognized as champion. And it's decided that they'll face each other at SummerSlam, with the winner being the undisputed champion. Well, on the 14th of August at SummerSlam, Punk defeats Cena, becoming sole champion. Everyone got that? But then, right after that, as Punk's celebrating, Kevin Nash shows up, gets in the ring, and power bombs Punk. Enter Money in the Bank winner, Alberto Del Rio, who cashes in and captures the title at SummerSlam. So crazy, crazy little run there. And then, a month later, on September 18th, 2011, at Night of Champions, Cena wins number 10. The 2nd of October at Hell in a Cell, Del Rio captures the championship for the 2nd time. And 6 weeks later at Survivor Series, CM Punk becomes a 2-time WWE champion. Yes, just number 2 for Punk, as technically he didn't have his initial one end until Del Rio cashed in at SummerSlam. He and Ray and Cena were all technically co-champions at some point in time there, through there. And then, it officially ended when Del Rio defeated him after he became the undisputed WWE champion at that point in time. But this second run would be a long one for Punk. So winning it here in November of 2011, and it lasting all the way until the 27th of January 2013, when none other than the Great One would make a big return and capture the title for the 8th time at the Royal Rumble. He would then retire the spinner and debut the Big Scratch title on April the 7th at WrestleMania 29. John Cena became an 11-time WWE champion. But then on the 18th of August at SummerSlam, Daniel Bryan would defeat Cena to capture the WWE title, only for the special referee in said match, Triple H, to turn around and pedigree him. And then the Viper Randy Orton would cash in his Money in the Bank to become a 7-time WWE champion. 1 month later, on the 15th of September at Night of Champions, Daniel Bryan recaptured the title, becoming a 2-time WWE champion. But the next night on Raw, Triple H would cite a fast 3 count and strip Daniel Bryan of the title. On October 27th, then at Hell in a Cell, Orton would become an 8-time WWE champion, and then also during that run end up unifying both the world title and WWE title at TLC before going on. And then on the 6th of April 2014 at WrestleMania 30, the Yes Movement reaches the pinnacle as Daniel Bryan defeats both Randy Orton and Batista in a triple threat to become a 3-time WWE champion. However, injuries caught up to Daniel Bryan, and on the 9th of June, he was forced to vacate the title on Raw to the Authority. Then 20 days later, on the 29th of June, at Money in the Bank, John Cena captures his 12th WWE title before taking a trip to Suplex City on the 17th of August at the hands of Brock Lesnar, the Beast Incarnate, with Paul Heyman at SummerSlam. This is Brock's 4th WWE title win. He is then awarded a new single big logo title the next night on Raw. Honestly, the scratch logo was retired, and I don't think Brock wanted to carry around 2 belts. So this was a 7-month run for Brock, lasting until the 29th of March 2015, when at WrestleMania 31, in his defense against Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins would pull the heist of the century, cashing in his Money in the Bank during the main event, turning it into a triple threat and pinning Roman to walk out of Mania as champion. Seth's first WWE title run lasted until the 5th of November, when on an episode of SmackDown, Stephanie McMahon announced that Seth had sustained a knee injury on the European tour that would require surgery, and the title was now vacant. So then on the 22nd of November at Survivor Series, Roman Reigns would then win the vacated title, only to have Sheamus cash in that night on him and be the Celtic Warriors' third WWE Championship win there. 3 weeks later, though, on the 14th of December, episode of Raw, the Big Dog recaptured the title. He was then forced to defend said title on the 24th of January, 2016, in the Royal Rumble itself. This was won by the Game Triple H, and it was the Cerebral Assassin's 9th WWE Championship. Would be his final WWE Championship. You combined all those with his world title runs, and the Game is a 14-time champion at the top of the card there. This run, though, would end on April 3rd at WrestleMania 32, with Roman Reigns defeating the Game for his WWE title win. 2 months later, though, on the 19th of June at Money in the Bank, Architect Seth Rollins defeated his former Shield brother to become a 2-time WWE champion, only to have his other former Shield brother, Dean Ambrose, cash in the briefcase that he'd won earlier that same night for his first WWE championship. The brand split then went back into effect a little after this, and Dean headed to SmackDown with the WWE title. Raw would create the Universal title about 2 months later. That's relevant later. We're not discussing the Universal title, but it is relevant later. I just want to mention it. Then on the 11th of September, 2016, at Backlash, the phenomenal AJ Styles defeated Ambrose for the WWE title. 4 months later, January 29th, 2017, Big Match John defeats AJ Styles for his 13th WWE title win. So now you combine those 13 WWE title wins with his 3 world title wins, and Cena then has tied Ric Flair as a 16-time champion. 1 month later, though, on the 12th of February, 2017, at Elimination Chamber, the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt, defeated Cena for the WWE title. April 2nd, 2017, at WrestleMania 33, the Viper Randy Orton defeats Bray to become a 9-time WWE champion. This run lasted 6 weeks for Orton, when he was upset by the modern-day Maharaja Jinder Mahal on the 21st of May at Backlash. Jinder had a solid 6-month reign here, retaining it many different times over that 6 months. But then on the 7th of November, an episode of SmackDown airing from the UK, AJ Styles defeated Jinder to become a 2-time WWE champion. This reign for AJ would last a little over a year, as on the 13th of November 2018, again on an episode of SmackDown, Daniel Bryan would turn heel and defeat AJ, becoming a 4-time champion. Would then go on his Eco Warrior heel run with Eric Rowan out there with him, and break out his wood, stone, hemp, eco-friendly WWE title. This lasted all the way until April 7th, 2019. At WrestleMania 35, it was Kofi Mania. And Kofi Kingston became the first ever African-born WWE champion. 6 months later, on October 4th, during the debut episode of SmackDown on Fox, Incarnate recaptures the WWE title for the 5th time. We now hit 2020. The world catches fire. COVID hits. WrestleMania is moved to the Performance Center and on April 5th in front of no crowd at WrestleMania 36. Drew McIntyre defeats Brock Lesnar for the WWE title. 6 months later, at Hell in a Cell on the 25th of October, Randy Orton defeated Drew for his 10th WWE Championship. So now you combine that with his 4 world title wins as well, and Orton is a 14-time overall champion. So he's getting in that Ric Flair, John Cena territory. 3 weeks later, on the 16th of November at Survivor Series, Drew recaptures the title, becoming a 2-time champion until a post-match Lashley beatdown on the 21st of February in 2021 at Elimination Chamber allows Miz to then turn around and cash in his Money in the Bank contract to become a 2-time WWE champion. Second time Miz has had a successful cash-in. And, 2 weeks later, on the March 1st episode of Raw, though, Miz had to make good on his deal with the Almighty and the Almighty Bobby Lashley with MVP at his side, manhandles Miz and captures the WWE title. 6 months later, September 13th, on Raw, again, Big E made good on his word and cashed in his Money in the Bank contract and defeated Lashley for the title. 4 months later, on New Year's evening at day 1, Brock Lesnar became 6-time WWE champion. But later that month, on the 29th of January at the Royal Rumble, turns around, drops the title back to Lashley. Crazy, huh? But Lashley's now a 2-time champion. 3 weeks later, on the 19th of February at Elimination Chamber, Lashley taken out of the match before he can really even enter the match. So we know we're going to have a new champion. And then none other than the Beast Incarnate himself, Brock, ends up winning said chamber match and recapturing the title for a 7th time to set up the title for title unification match on the 3rd of April, 2022 at the most stupendous WrestleMania ever. And at said WrestleMania 38, the head of the table, tribal chief and current Universal Champion, Roman Reigns, defeated Brock Lesnar to become the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. And that is where we are. So, 60 years, a lot to discuss. Rumble's around the corner. Who's going to win it? Who's going to go on challenge for this biggest title in the company? We'll have to wait and see. We'll have that Rumble special, prediction special with Rodney and I coming up here sometime next week. So, as always, give us a like, a share, and a subscribe. Take care of each other, and I will see you when I see you.